Hey, what is good everyone? Welcome back to another video. So in the comments of the videos, I've seen a lot of people asking about what gun I use, what mods I use, what kind of build I'm running, and what it is that I'm using to clear CT15s with relative ease and do the damage I'm doing. Now, as you're all aware, my build is obviously just a cookie cutter Blighted round build. Now, granted, Blighted round builds did get nerfed in the latest patch, but they're still a very, very viable option in order to complete CT15 solo and get gold on them. I also want to throw out there that the mod Emergency Stance is still bugged and can stick on your character permanently. You can see above my health bar that I actually have it active right now. So for everyone saying that it's been fixed or it's been patched, that's not the case. It does proc and it does stick. I don't know how you activate it or how it works, but it does work and it can have a chance of sticking still. It might take a bunch of times of getting to 30% health and proccing the mod, and sometimes it will stick, sometimes it won't, but when it does stick, you will have it permanently still. So we're going to go ahead and jump straight in. We're going to start with the skills. The three skills I use, as you can see, are Blighted Rounds, Cold Snap, and Blighted Turret. As you're all aware, the whole build revolves around Blighted Rounds and keeping them active 24/7 and trying to not let them run out. The second skill we use is, of course, Cold Snap. It basically does what it says. It freezes all the enemies in a large radius around you, and especially when you're getting swarmed or there's a lot of enemies that you're trying to control, this is the perfect skill for that. It's super good against the alpha monsters. You can just freeze them in place and then hit all the headshots and they just absolutely go down without any issues at all. And then our third skill in the build is, of course, Blighted Turret. This basically inflicts toxic onto all of the enemies that it hits, and that is very, very needed for the build in terms of DPS, and also it works with our mods that we have on the build as well. Another good thing about Blighted Turret is that sometimes it actually draws the aggro of the enemy, and the enemy will just start attacking the turret and not focus on you. So if we go into our class setup, the first skill we're going to get is the increase to weapon damage by 8%, because obviously Blighted Rounds revolves 100% around your weapon, so anything we can do to buff that is a huge increase. After that one, we get Suction Module, which is of course 5% weapon leech. It just helps with healing and survivability. And then Drill Coating, increase armor piercing by 10%. We go down one and we grab the Havoc Nexus, which is increase your critical damage by 15%, which is obviously huge because we're aiming for the head most of the time. And then the next big one is Exposing Toxin, which puts vulnerable status on any enemy afflicted with toxic. If you have your turret active, spraying everything with toxic, everything that gets hit by it will be vulnerable. And then we have Marked for Execution, which basically means anything inflicted with toxic is 40% more effective. We also have Nitrogen Capsules, which decreases what is considered to be long range by 3 meters. Now this is very good because obviously we get healing from killing targets at long range, so anything that we can do to reduce the long range requirement basically means we can kill stuff at a closer range and still get the healing from it. Then we grab Impact Amplifier, which increases weapon damage by 8%. Again, that's just a base DPS increase, which is obviously very good. From there, we grab Nitrogen Capsules again, which decreases the long range requirement by a further 3 meters. Go down one and grab Purge. Enemies afflicted with toxic will take 10% more damage. Again, if you're using the toxic turret, this is just going to spray everyone with toxic that runs past it, and they're instantly going to take 10% more damage. And then we grab Impact Amplifier for another 8% weapon damage, and Assault Master, which increases your assault rifle weapon damage by 20%, which is kind of huge, and obviously the drop chance of assault weapons dropping by 20%. We then grab Assault Adept, which increases our assault weapon damage by 12%, Drill Coating, which increases our armor piercing by a further 10%, and then we drop down and we grab Two Sides of the Power, which increases our damage received by 15%, but also increases our damage dealt by 20%. Now this basically turns us into a glass cannon, but based on our build, we're going to be at far away range anyway, so by the time they get to you, they're going to be pretty much dead. If not, they would have been dead already. So we gain the positive from this rather than the negative. We then obviously have to grab Sharpshooter, which increases your long range weapon damage by 30%. And then from there we go up one and grab Grand Amplification, which increases anomaly power by 4% for each Impact Amplifier class node we have unlocked. Now we have 3 of those unlocked, so it's 12% increased anomaly power. Blighted Rounds are obviously a skill, so that benefits Blighted Rounds. We then carry on through the tree and grab UT14 clips, which increases our magazine size by 50%. This also buffs our Blighted Rounds because, of course, once you reload, that effect disappears. So this will just help with needing to reload less. We go ahead and grab Purge. This is basically a 15% damage increase against enemies afflicted with Toxic. Again, the turret here is going to really help out. And then the final one we grab is Empowering Antenna. Activating any decay ability increases our weapon damage for you and all of your allies by 40% for 10 seconds. Now, Blighted Rounds is going to be active in the build pretty much 24/7. So the way we get this skill to proc is actually by using the Blighted turret. That's the main reason we have it on the build. But what's great about this is that it increases it for all of your allies, not just for you. So you're actually benefiting the entire party that you're with at the same time. Now, as for weapons in the build, the secondary weapon and the sidearm aren't really needed because you're not going to use them. So I'm not going to go over the secondary weapon or the sidearm because you don't use them in this build. I only ever use my primary weapon. It is, of course, the gold rolled AR that I showed off in another video. It is the Earthborn Renegades Assault Rifle from the Hells Rangers DLC pack. If you want to know how to get this weapon, you can go ahead and watch that video on my channel and that'll tell you exactly how to do so. Now, it comes as a full auto variant, so we just changed the variant to tactical and it already rolls with bone shrapnel, which of course makes killing shots detonate their bones, and they deal 203,000 damage and apply bleeds to everyone within a 5-meter radius. Now, if you're fighting against weaker enemies and they're swarming you, for example, those little monsters who swarm in packs of 3 or 4, once you kill one of them, bone shrapnel's pretty much just gonna kill everything else in that pack, so it's very good for clearing out trash ads. And then we switch out the second perk to Killing Spree, which means killing shots increase damage by 25% for this weapon for 20 seconds, and that stacks up to 3 times. Now, I would say Killing Spree is probably the main thing that you need on this build, because it actually adds so much damage to your build, it's kind of crazy. As for the helmet, I'm just running the legendary Sergio's Beret. This is the best one I've found so far with all the perks that I wanted on it. Now, the good thing about this is that you don't have to reroll a single thing. It rolls with Sharp Eye and with Bloodlust. So what Sharp Eye does is when you're aiming down sights, every time you kill an enemy, it's going to give you 16,089 firepower for 20 seconds. But this actually stacks up to 3 times. So if you aim down sights, which you're probably going to be doing 24/7 for the most part anyway, it's basically free damage. And that's going to stack up to a total of 48,000 extra firepower for pretty much just playing how you normally play. And then it rolls with Bloodlust, which increases your firepower by 17,500, stacks up to 3 times, and deteriorates every 10 seconds. So it works at the same time Sharp Eye is working too. So with these 2 perks alone, you're going to gain up to 100,000 firepower extra for 10 seconds after you kill 3 enemies whilst aiming down sight. Now, it does roll with bonus firepower, cooldown reduction, and status power. The firepower is of course great, but if we take a look at the chest piece, what you actually would prefer on the helmet would be long range damage and close range damage. The 3 stats we're going for on every single gear piece will be bonus firepower, long range, and close range damage. You want that on every single piece. As for the chest piece, we obviously have the 3 stats that we're looking for. And then we have Radical Therapy, which deals 15% more damage against enemies afflicted by Toxic. Now, since you have the Blighted turret active all the time, and that's going to be spraying people with Toxic, you basically get 15% extra damage for doing absolutely nothing. And then we've rolled Dum Dum bullets onto it, which increases assault weapon damage by 10%. Again, this is just a passive free damage perk. You don't have to do anything to activate it, it's just always on. As for the leg armor, we have Waistcloth of the Shaman Warlord. Again, we've got bonus firepower, long range damage, and close range damage on there. And then we've gone ahead and rolled the Captain Hunter tier 3 perk on, which increases your damage against elites by 25%. Now, I really like having the Captain Hunter mod because basically the only things that you struggle with is elites. Everything else you can kill pretty quick, but the elites are pretty tanky. So this just helps putting them down a lot quicker. Now, there's been a lot of you asking why I never reload or how I pretty much have infinite ammo on my build. That is due to Toxic Lead. Toxic Lead makes it so killing enemies afflicted with Toxic will instantly replenish 40% of your ammo in your magazine. Since you're using Blighted rounds and everything you shoot will get Toxic inflicted upon it, and your turret's also there spraying everyone with Toxic, it basically means anyone you kill is going to give you ammo back. So in effect, this is why I never reload in my videos, and why it looks like I have infinite ammo 24/7, because I'm just constantly getting killed and constantly getting ammo back on those kills. Now on our hands, we've got bonus firepower, long range, and close range. You'll notice that once again I have Radical Therapy. I would like to change this, but I haven't found an upgrade as of yet. And then of course we've re-rolled the Euthanizer perk onto the perk slot 1, and that deals 25% more damage against enemies afflicted by Toxic. Once again, everything we kill is basically going to have Toxic applied to it, so we basically get a free 25% damage increase. That's also a passive perk. And then our boots are just Vagrant's boots. They have bonus firepower, close range, and long range damage on them. I still run emergency stance because it is still bugged, and it's very, very helpful when it does proc and stay. So for the time being, I'm using emergency stance. Now when this gets patched, I'll probably switch it out for mitigation from death, and we also have crit stat. Critical shots build up to a 5-second stacking effect that grants you 3,500 anomaly power and 7,700 firepower bonuses. and this stacks up to 5 times. Now, if I found a chest piece with Dum Dum bullets already rolled onto it, I would try and re-roll Kingslayer onto it as well instead of Radical Therapy. Because right now I have 2 overlapping mods. It'd be nice if I could re-roll Kingslayer instead of Radical Therapy on one of them. And that basically makes it so every time you get a crit on an elite, it's going to increase your firepower by 32,000 for 6 seconds. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. This has been my build video, just to show you guys what I run, because there's a lot of people asking me about my build. As always, if you liked the video, make sure you drop a like on the video, and while you're there, please subscribe. It helps us out so much. I'm gonna go ahead and just play some CT15 footage, just so you can see roughly how the build works and what it looks like in action. So feel free to stay and watch the rest of that if you're curious. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.